So I'm going to type in student and choose this student holding a laptop here. Push the check mark. Now let's move the canvas to the left. I actually want to add in another element before this one of this guy holding the laptop shows. So I'm just going to lock his camera position. I'm going to go back into the library, type in student again. And I've chosen the same character, but a different drawing of this character because I'd like to show him as a beginner without a computer and then a pro. So he's holding the laptop, and I'm going to next put an element within the laptop. Have him here. We're going to make him a little bit bigger and put him right there, lock that camera position. And even though this character is on the right, I still need to move him on the timeline, because if I don't move him in the timeline, he will be drawn before this character, but I want this character to be drawn first. So let's just swap places. Okay, so now this guy is going to be drawn first. I'm going to bring the draw time down there. So I've gone back up to the image library and typed in thought bubble because I actually want to show a few thought bubbles while the voiceover says, I'll teach you everything you want to know. I'm now going to move this guy over into the middle more and make him a little bit smaller. Move him down, clear and relock that position. I'm going to grab that thought bubble, make it bigger. And I'm going to use this arrow here, which is another way to rotate the thought bubble. So there we go. Bring that there. I'm going to move this to the right of our beginning stage student here. Lock that. Bring the draw time way down. Next, I'm going to go to text, type in tips. And I want it to actually not be in Helvetica. I want to go with the basic font used in Videoscribe. So I'm going to click the check mark here. Grab this. Tips. Bring that a little bit bigger. And you know what? I think I want that to actually be in red. So let's find a nice red. There's a bright red. Okay. I'm going to bring the pause time down, the transition time down, and the animation times down to 0.5. Click the check mark. We're going to move tips over here beside the cloud. Set that camera position. Let's just go in the properties of this cloud bubble. Bring the animation time down to 0.5, pause time down to 0, transition time down to 0. Okay, let's preview again from our character. I'll teach you everything you need to know. So you'll start out as a beginner and be a pro Videoscribe user by the end of this course. Okay, so I need this animation to happen faster because I actually want to add a few more thought bubbles. So I'm going to click on him, bring the animation time all the way down to 0.5 seconds. And let's just preview this. I'll teach you everything you need to know. I also noticed that after he's drawn, there's a pause, which I don't want. So I'm going to go into the properties panel, make the pause and transition time 0, hit the check mark, play again. I'll teach you everything you need to know. So you'll start out as a beginner. Because I've sped up these 3 elements here, I can now add a few more thought bubbles. Be careful to not hit the center of any of your elements, because if you accidentally, like if I grabbed this from the center here, I can't move it. It instead just rotates that element around. So I'm going to now move that guy back. Clear and reset the camera position. Let's add another thought bubble. So we'll go back into the library, type in thought bubble. Let's pick this thought bubble here. Bring the size down. Bring it over to this side of the canvas. I'm going to go into the properties here and flip it. There we go. Bring the animation time down to 0.5, 0 pause, 0 transition, hit the check mark, move that beside to the right of the tips element, because if I had left it on the right, I'll just show you quickly, it would draw like this. Everything you need to know. So you'll start out as a beginner and be a pro Videoscribe user by the end of this course. See what happened there? Because I didn't set the camera position for that thought bubble, and because it shows up last in the timeline, it drew after my character with the laptop. So I need to move this over so that it comes after tips. I need to zoom way out now. Actually, no, I'm going to click on tips, double click on tips, and it will take me back to that camera position. So I'm going to click on this thought bubble. I'm going to move this over, make it a little bit smaller, and put it right there. So we'll lock that. Okay, now I'm going to add more text into this thought bubble. So I'm going to click on this text here on the timeline that says tips, and I'm going to copy it and paste it. So it showed up right beside the original element. I'm just going to move it over to the right. These arrows on either end of the timeline allow you to scroll through the timeline. So that's been copied, so I can drag this down. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to clear the camera position and reset it. And now I have to go in and change the verbiage to tools. So I'm going to do that by going into change the text or font. And I'll just change that to tools, check mark, check mark. Okay, so that's a little big. So I'm going to bring the bubble size up a little bit. So I'm going to clear and reset the camera position for that. Okay, now I want to duplicate this thought bubble. So click copy and paste, and I'm going to drag this one over here. Drag it over here on the canvas, go into the properties, flip it around. There we go, hit the check mark. And I'm going to change the rotation of that thought bubble a little bit. Bring it up a bit. Okay, let's clear that and relock it. And I'm going to copy the tools text and bring this copy to the right of the third cloud bubble, and I'm going to go into the properties, go into the text here and change this to tricks. Check mark, check mark. And we'll drag that over, clear and lock the camera position. Let's make this thought bubble a little bit bigger, and we can actually drag it out, stretch it out that way by hitting these here. There we go. Going to clear and reset the camera position, and I'm going to click off of that. Okay. So the idea is I want these three thought bubbles to pop up pretty quickly to indicate that the beginner student is looking to learn tips, tools, and tricks in Videoscribe, and is scratching his head because he does not yet know these tips, tools, and tricks. Next, I'm going to click on this Pro Videoscribe user now. I'm going to bring him into the center of the canvas more. I'm going to make him a little bit bigger because now he's a pro, so we want him to just slightly stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to clear and lock that camera position, bring the draw time down to 1.5. And next, what I'd like to do is add an element to show an image on his laptop screen.